Welcome to the Daily Loot, your go-to source for all things gaming. Whether you're a casual gamer or a die-hard fan, we've got you covered with the latest news, reviews, and analysis from the gaming world. So sit back, grab your controller, and get ready for a daily dose of gaming goodness. This is the Daily Loot, and we are glad you're here.
Hey, and welcome to the Daily Loot's first episode ever of our new gaming podcast. I am thrilled to have you all here, and I've been so excited to start this podcast. I've been a long time waiting for starting on making a gaming podcast. And I'm like a person who can talk all my friends' ears bleed by just talking about gaming. I love talking about gaming. I can talk about gaming non-stop all day, every night. And that's why I was like, I'm going to have to create a gaming podcast because I need to talk to everyone out there. So while you're driving, while you're taking a bus or the train, or while you're doing whatever you're doing, you can listen to my podcast, The Daily Loot, for gaming news, gaming content, gaming reviews, anything that is gaming related. And I'm so excited to have you all here for our first episode. And I keep saying our, but it's just me. It's just me having a podcast, and that's all. You might be listening to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, anywhere, but you can also watch the podcast on YouTube if you want to see me actually sitting and talking. But I'm not doing anything special on the video. I'm just basically sitting and talking. Currently, I'm sitting in my stable on my farm, so you can see the farm behind me while sitting here and talking. The light is probably horrible because it's very light outside. But I just thought it was funny to sit outside instead of inside, in a normal office, a normal place. But yeah. So welcome to the Daily Loot, and I am so thrilled to get started. We have a nice agenda today. We are going to talk about upcoming games, which are coming the next couple of months. The games, that list could be plus 100 games, but I'm just going to talk about the games that I'm personally excited for. And then we're going to talk about some Diablo 4 stuff and which game I'm probably most excited for currently in the future. So let's talk a bit about upcoming games. So very soon, actually in 2 days, Star Wars Jedi Survivor is coming out to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Yeah. So if you're owning a PlayStation 4 or you're owning one of the old Xboxes, I'm sorry, you won't be able to play this game. Even if you have a Nintendo Switch, you're still not going to be able to play this game. It's only for the new consoles and, of course, PC. Again, Star Wars Jedi Survivor is coming out on April 28, and it's a second game to the franchise. People love the first one, and it's been having so much positive talk, so I can imagine that Star Wars Jedi Survivor is going to be another big hit. They have a sort of open world content without it being, Grand Theft Auto open world, but still have some open world you can discover. You can run around on mounts, you can have different spells, sabers, It's if you are a Star Wars fan, then Star Wars Jedi Survivor is going to be something for you, because there's a lot of customizations, there's a lot of free will, but of course still it's a campaign game with a linear mission. Of course you still have to follow that. I'm excited to see what people are going to say about this game, but yeah, again, it's coming out on April 28. After that, we're going to get Redfall, which is coming on May 2. This game has been, it has been a lot in the media recently. The reason why is because on Xbox X and S, the new ones, the Series X and S, they haven't actually managed to make 60 frames work on it yet. So they're releasing a new, it's a Microsoft game, Xbox game. So it's of course only going to come out on PC and Xbox. PC, of course, you can have whatever frame rate you want, of course, depending on your PC. But Xbox Series X and S is going to be limited to 30 frames right now, but it's going to get a 60 frame patch later down the road. So don't worry, you will be able to play this very nice vampire hunting game in 60 frames later. But let's talk about Redfall. So Redfall is basically a campaign open world game. So imagine you and 3 other friends have to choose between some characters which have different spells you can level up in. It's a first person shooter game where you have to fight vampires. So imagine Left 4 Dead or Back 4 Blood, but where the game is actually one big city, which is open world, where you can run around as you want, you can explore houses, and in every house there's going to be a maybe another spooky surprise. You can go into a house where you see the blood pools everywhere, and then suddenly you go upside or upstairs, and there's gonna be a vampire waiting for you, surprising you and shocking you. Stuff like that, which it's like the game is so big and it's gonna be very unique to play. It will be playable on Xbox Game Pass, or Xbox Game. Yeah, it's called Xbox Game Pass. Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass Ultimate, you can play it on PC and Xbox. If you have the normal Game Pass, you can play it on your Xbox. I have the Ultimate Edition, so I will be able to actually download the game directly on my PC on May 2. So if you're thinking about trying Redfall, if you want to like hunt vampires, I can recommend you maybe try just 1 month of Xbox Game Pass. And if you have a PC, you need the Ultimate Edition. Try the game, play it. Maybe you have like a 14-day trial where you live. Try it out, play it, and if you like it, buy the game or just keep having Xbox Game Pass. That's up to you, of course. But yeah, on May the 2nd, May 2, we will get Redfall, which is a new vampire hunting game which people have really been anticipated. It's a very colorful game. Beside of that, an old game which is already released on the new consoles on PC, which is Hogwarts Legacy, the very debated, critical acclaimed game. People have debated this game a lot because I don't want to talk about that stuff, but maybe why this game has been debated. It is actually coming out on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, so we have seen on social medias people in horde, like buying PlayStation 5 or the new Xbox to play this game. But now I'm finally, happy to tell you on May the 5th, or May 5, you will be able to download this game and buy it for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So if you don't have the new consoles, but you just really want to play this Harry Potter game or Hogwarts Legacy game, you can now get it on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on May 5th. So, I mean, that's exciting that they still made a, you can say a performance less graphical worse edition for the lower consoles, but at least it allows them to do it. I know that not all games will be able to do this trick because some games just can't go this far down where it still runs smooth on the old consoles. I get that. The old console is in a dangerous spot right now where they have a chance to disappear or not disappear, because it is the future that everyone is going to upgrade out to PlayStation 5 or the next Xbox Series S and X. By the way, if you're a gamer out there and you really want a console, if you want the cheapest solution out there, it is of course buying a Nintendo Switch. But Nintendo Switch is limited and you don't get all the games. You have mostly Nintendo games and you have indie games, all indie games comes to Nintendo Switch. But if you want to also be able to play all the new AAA games and all the, high graphical games, the cheapest solution then would get an Xbox Series S. I know you probably are not going to be able to play 60 frames 4K on all games, but at least you will be able to play 1080p 60 frames in all games. So it's kind of up to you. Do you want to invest a lot of money in being able to play 4K 60 frames, or is 1080p 60 frames enough for you? Of course, if you run the really spicy one with 4K 60 frames, then you need Xbox Series X or the PlayStation 5, which almost cost the same. But again, Xbox Series S is just so much cheaper. So if you don't care about 4K 60 frames, you could just go with that one. But again, that's up to you. Do you want a performance or just being able to play the game? Yeah. But yeah, Hogwarts Legacy, May 5th on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. After that, on the May 12th, we are going to release a game. No, I'm not going to release a game. We're going to get a game on Nintendo Switch, which is a game that people have been waiting for a lot. And once this game comes out, you will see many big content creators streaming the game, playing the game, talking about the game. You will see your Twitter floating with this game. You will see the popular hashtags with this game. This game is going to conquer the social media for a month at least. Probably after a month it's going to die again, but a month this game is going to be the most popular game. Probably in the entire May. And the game I'm talking about is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, so if you're a Zelda player and you have a Nintendo Switch, you can look forward to the May 12th, because there you will be able to get this next, what is called, the next game, the next sequel, the sequel to the other Legend of Zelda game. And but just by looking on the footage of this game, it looks really good. Like, you have so much more you can do in this game. They have, of course, ensured that it's gonna have a rich story, and just like if you are a fan of the first game, of course you want to play the next game because it's probably like bigger and better. So what's not to like about it? But I'm excited to see what people are gonna think about this game. I'm not personally going to play it. I tried to play the first one. I was able to get 3 hours into the campaign, and then I just meh. Get me right, the game is really good. It's probably one of the best RPGs I've been playing. But my problem is I'm really a multiplayer guy. So when I play a single player game like this, I just burn out very quickly because I have no friends I can invite. I'm a person who really likes to play with people. And when I play a game where I cannot play with people, it's like, nah. But I respect if you are a person who are able to play single player games. That's really cool. That you can sit and venture into a game by yourself. Where I'm like, I need a game where I can at least invite people somewhere. I need to show them the cool armor I just got. So which is probably why I'm like a main MMORPG player, I would probably say. But yeah, on May the 12th, we're going to get The Legend of Zelda Tears of Kingdom, which is coming from Nintendo Switch. And it's going to be exciting to see what people have to say about this game. On then the May 9th, 19, we are going to get a very nostalgic game. So when I was a kid, I used to play a Lego game, like a Lego driving game. I can't remember what it was called, but you could build your own car, and you could it kind of reminded you of Mario Super, what is it called? Mario Kart? Mario Kart? I think it was Mario. Oh my god, that's so embarrassing. But yeah, basically the same, but you could build your own car out of Lego, which is really cool. Now they're going to release a new game called Lego 2K, 2, the number 2, and then I get the letter K, Drive. Lego 2K Drive, which is releasing for Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, the Switch, and PC. So basically any console, any popular gaming console out there is going to be able to get this game. You will be able to drive around in a huge open world, like an open Lego world. Drive around in an open Lego world. Can you already hear how amazing that sounds? Driving around this big Lego world and building your own car. Basically, on the trailer, we see people driving into buildings where the building is just getting smashed, destroyed, because it's built out of Lego. And then, of course, you can do racing with people, online, competitive, stuff like that. It just looks amazing for the entire Lego 2K Drive game. It just looks nice. It looks fun. The only reason I'm a bit skeptical getting this game is because when I think on a Lego game and driving game, I would maybe imagine a price tag on $40 or $30 or somewhere like that. 30, 40, $60. I don't know, a space between that. But the game on Steam is actually costing $60, which I'm I'm not sure if this game is gonna be $60 for me. Am I actually going to play this game for 10, 20, 30 hours? So a 60 price tag on a Lego driving game is a hard for me. But I'm totally respecting that people liking Lego driving games are gonna buy this. Totally do it. The cool thing I saw about this game is when you're driving on the road, you drive in a car. When you drive down in water, you transform into a boat, which you can also build and choose how to look like. I don't know if they actually showed if you drive out in in a high place, on a mountain, and you drive out on the other side of the mountain. If you're actually turning into was it did they also have planes? I'm not sure. I have to check up on that again. But yeah, still, it reminds of that Ubisoft game where wherever you drive in the in the air, on the water, on roads, you transform into the car that is needed for that. And of course, you're gonna use that car that you have been built in the editor, in the customization. So, beside of that, after that, on May 25, a game that I have been anticipated for. I have actually been really hyped about this game here coming out on May 25th. It's probably mainly because I'm a big Tolkien / Lord of the Rings fan. Like anything that has anything to do with Lord of the Rings, I have to play that. Uh, which is the reason I'm very interested in Lord of the Rings, Gollum. Gollum. And in this game here, you're going to play Gollum through a main campaign game, like a story-based driven game, where you play as Gollum, where you see like another story from his perspective, because you're playing him. You're basically being him, getting the ring stolen, all this. You can already, like, from just these words, you already know what the game is going to be about. Gollum wants his precious, and we're going to get it back somehow. I'm not sure if this game is actually based on the movies themselves or it's gonna be like a side story. But the main factor here is that this game is about Lord of the Rings. It's about Gollum and the universe that the Tolkien he made. So I'm just like, I'm excited. I'm excited. Like May 25, we're gonna be able to play this masterpiece. I'm definitely gonna play it, not make videos about it, but I'm probably like gonna stream it and then having a podcast later on where I'm gonna like talk about it, like give it a review, like give it a score. We could give a score like 1 out of 10. How much? I could imagine it's gonna be like a stable 7, maybe 8 game, worst case 6 game, but we'll see once it actually comes out. I guess we will see. But yeah. So that was Star Wars Jedi Survivor on the April 28, Redfall on May 2, Hogwarts Legacy for all consoles on May 5, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom on May 12, Lego 2K Drive on May 19, and Lord of the Rings Gollum on May 25. But the one that I'm excited for, it's not the last category we're going to talk about later, which is like a game in the future I'm excited for. But the game I'm excited for coming in the end of my list on the June of 6. We are going to get Diablo 4. Yes, you heard correctly. If you are a fan of Diablo or played the franchise Diablo or you're looking forward to Diablo 4, yes. This is the newest installment in Diablo franchise, Diablo 4. Or as they write, Diablo IV, for like the Rome's numbers, like 4. It is coming out on June the 6th, but if you have bought the middle pack, like you can buy like the small pack, the basic, then like the higher edition and the biggest one. If you buy the middle one or the big one, you get 4 days early access, which means you will already be able to play on the 2nd May, like the 2nd May. If you are from the US, because of the time zones, you will actually be able to play like on the 1st May. And people like me, or in Europe, we will be able to play the 2nd May. And no, we are not going to play on different times. No, it's just because, when it's 1 a.m. here in Denmark, it's like, I don't know, like 6 p.m. No, that's wrong. Like when it's 1 a.m. here in Denmark, it's like in the evening or in the US, depending on where you are in the US. They also have like different time zones over there. So in the US, you will be able to like play in the evening on the 1st, and in Denmark, Germany, Sweden, Norway, we are going to play 1 a.m. And then you can like see where you are from, like different time zones. So I of course bought the middle pack, which gonna make me able to play on the 2nd May, 1 a.m. So I of course had to take vacation that day. I told my boss, hey, I'm gonna play Diablo 4, so I need to take a vacation day. And he's a gamer too, so he of course understood the need for taking vacation for playing Diablo 4. I mean, that's probably the most important thing you could do. So, and he get that. So that's good. So on June 6th, and early access on June 2, June the 2nd, we are getting Diablo 4, which is probably the second most anticipated game for me. I'm coming back to later which is most anticipated for me. But Diablo 4 is gonna be such a great game. Like, first of all, you have 5 different classes you can pick between. You have the Barbarian, the Rogue, the Necromancer, the Sorcerer, and the Druid. Yeah. And then there is rumors, big rumors, that we are going to get a 6th class. And because also if you buy that, you can like buy a cup from the Blizzard store. You can buy like a drinking cup. On that one, it has 6 symbols. And 5 of them is the classes we know. But the 6th one we don't know, and it looks like a skull. I think that was like a skull-ish. I don't know, like a demon skull thing, if I remember correctly. So they are teasing themselves. Yeah, we are getting a 6th class. But the thing is, what is the 6th class? All the leaks and rumors so far has pointed on that we're getting some kind of like a holy class. It could be the Templar, which is like the NPC that follows you in Diablo 3 and 2, like the guy with the spear that follows you and can heal you and stuff like that with auras. It could be the Paladin from Diablo 2. It could be the Crusader from Diablo 3. So it's kind of like between these 3 people classes. Which of these holy warriors are we going to get as the 6th class in the game? Which is exciting. I really wish they would have shipped the game with the 6th class, because I am like if I can pick a Paladin, Holy class, something like that in a game, I would always main that. Like, I love Crusaders and Paladins. So if they shipped the game with that, I would definitely have mained that. But because they're not shipping the game with this class, it's probably coming out with the Season 1. So if you don't know, Diablo 4 is starting with no seasons. And then like later, maybe 1, 2, 3 months, we're gonna get Season 1. And I have a feeling that the new class, whatever it's gonna be, it's gonna release with Season 1. Like, can you imagine them they releasing a Season 1 and then they're like, hey, we have a new class for this season? Because anyway, whenever, if you know the Diablo games, whenever a new season comes, a new ladder season, you always have to create a new character, because it's about who gets up in level first, who does the dungeons first, who does all these rifts and stuff like that, dungeons, and who can do it on highest level and fastest time. Basically like Mythic Dungeons in WoW. So everyone will be doing new characters when the new season comes. So of course, if there's a new class, it's the perfect time to release with a new season, because people is anyway going to create a new character, if you get what I mean. So that's pretty cool. That's cool. So it's gonna be exciting to see what new class. But still, going back to Diablo 4, it's releasing on the 2nd of June, the 6th of June, and if you have bought the middle pack or the big pack, it will release on the 2nd of June for you. The game has, again, 5 classes. It's a big open world. It's not like the other Diablo games where you have to follow a linear path, where the entire map is shaped for you to run this way. No. It feels like the Diablo team has been sitting down with the WoW team, like World of Warcraft team, and discussed how we can make this MMO-ish Diablo. It's not an MMO, it's just like an open world ARPG with other people. I would still personally call it MMO, but it doesn't have an MMO like stamp on it. And the thing is, like, you have this entire big world, but I think the game is going to ship with 5 acts. And once you create a character, you will be able to go to any of the first 3 acts as you want. You can go to Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and the zones you go into will automatically scale with you. So you can, like, if you're level 5 Barbarian, which I'm going to main, I'm going to create a Barbarian. When you play Barbarian, and you go into, like, Act 2 as level 5, all the monsters around you will automatically scale to your level, which is why you can do Act 1, 2, and 3. But then if you open up the world map, the big map, and you look down in Act 4 and 5, you will see that the zones also scales, but they have a minimum level. For example, let's say Act 4 probably have like minimum level 40, so, which means you can first go down in Act 4 when you're level 40, but then anything between 40 and 100 is automatically scaling in that zone. Just like the first zone, Act 1, everything there scales between level 1 and 100. Act 2, 1 and 100. Act 3, 1 and 100. And then 4 is probably maybe like 40 to 100. And then you have Act 5, which is maybe only max level, maybe 50 to 100, maybe 60 to 100. I can't remember, since I don't have the game right now, so I cannot go in and open the world map and look up at my cursor and see, oh, this is the level for this zone. Cool. Nice. Yeah. So basically, it's a very big difference from other Diablo games, that the game is scaling with your character, which is also really cool if you play with friends. Because even if you have a friend who level, let's say, 39, and you level 5, he will be able to come to you and help you with your main campaign, not because you need help, but because it's fun to team up. So you will be able to go with your friend, no matter what level he is, scale down and have fun and follow your main campaign, which I think is a really great thing. And I know a lot of people that say, this is a bad thing because I don't feel like, going to a zone with dangerous monsters. They just keep being on my level. Well, they still get stronger. They still require you to get better gear. Their stats keep increasing with the levels. Your stats will probably also increase a bit, but not as much as the monsters. You need equipment, so that problem is already solved there. But this allows people, all the casuals, because if you think the hardcore Diablo fan base is going to be the majority in Diablo 4, you're wrong. You are very wrong. No, it's the basic casual audience that is going to be the majority in Diablo 4. Can you imagine all these people who used to play Diablo 2, Diablo 3, and never really played any games since then? But now they hear that Diablo 4 is coming out. Can you imagine how many people's coming back there? I just personally know a few people who's not gaming anymore, but because of Diablo 4, they're gonna go gaming again. And I think there's a lot of people out there. The average gamer dad who goes down in GameStop and be like, oh, there's a new Diablo 4 coming out. I should probably buy that. And then he pre-ordered it in store and go home and play it. But he's not a person who goes on Twitter and read about all the stuff people talk about, all the hardcore Diablo fans they cry about. No. Because the main majority of the game is going to be players who just bought the game to have fun in the evenings while the family sleep, or fun with their kids, playing Diablo with them, stuff like that. And then, of course, you have the hardcore audience that Blizzard, of course, tries to make happy, but it's not always that easy when you see the critic that people give the game. For example, people is getting a bit very upset that the game won't add an overlay map. So, when you play Diablo 2 and 3, you can have like a map on top of your character. And they don't want to add that. Maybe they want to add it like later down the roadmap, but for release, they don't want it. And as a content creator, I see why they don't want to do it. See, imagine all these people gonna stream this game on Twitch. And you have all these casual people joining in on the streams and watching all these people. If all these streamers just have like a map on the screen all the time where you cannot really see anything, character, background, you have no idea what's going on because you just keep seeing this overlay map on top of everything. I see it as a marketing thing that could go harsh against themselves. Like people could look at this and be like, what is this map game? It's just basically a map with someone running around on a map all the time. So I see why they maybe are not going to add it as day one, but maybe down the line where, okay, the game has been out so long now that we don't care about any more people finding out what Diablo 4 is. Now we know that people who wants to play Diablo 4, they probably play the game. So now we can start adding in stuff which we don't care about if people use in streams. That is like the main majority to why I think it's going the way it's going to be, if you follow me. Yeah. Beside of that, people was all angry about the font they used in the beta. The font, I can't remember the name of the fonts, but the font didn't look like a Diablo font. It looked like more like something you would use in Word. And people were furious about it was not the original Diablo font, a demonic font. So they changed the font to a demonic font, and I mean, me personally, I probably prefer the old one since it was more human readable. It was like quick to read the stats and stuff like that, where this new one here can be a bit more tough because it's like demonish. But again, it's like, for me, it's like, meh. It doesn't change the game for me. It's like, okay, it's a font. I don't give a, it's like, it's a font, okay. But I understand why some of the hardcore Diablo players who used to play Diablo 2 and 3 every day of their life, that they're like, hey, I want my Diablo font, because this is not Diablo anymore. Yeah, that's how it is. But yeah, back to the game. You have this open world, massive world. You run around, do the campaign. Once you finish the campaign, and that's another fun fact. So you're probably thinking, okay, how long does it take to finish the campaign? How many hours do I need to spend on finishing the campaign? In a recent interview with one of the developers behind the game, they mentioned that the campaign itself is going to take 35 to 45 hours. So I would say for a game that costs this a lot of money, I would say it's pretty decent that the game takes 45 to 35 to 45 hours to complete. I would say that's pretty good. You're getting the money is worth it. And then you might ask yourself, what does it take to actually become max level? How much time do I need to spend on getting to max level? Well, that is a good question. In another interview, we have heard that it will take approximately 150 to 180 hours. 150 to 180. So almost 200 hours it's going to take you to get to max level 100. When you ask an average person on the street, they would probably say, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's very much. If you go down and ask the original, the OG, the hardcore Diablo 2 fans what they think, they are saying, that's pretty decent. That's good. I mean, of course, in Diablo 3, you could get up to Paragon level in no time. But in Diablo 2 players, if you have played ladder, you know it takes time to get to max level. And that's why it's not really scaring them for like the game is almost taking 200 hours to get to level 100 in Diablo 4. Which is interesting. So yeah, big open world, 5 classes. Let's just say 50 hours campaign, 200 hours to get max level. And then you're probably thinking, what then? Am I then done with the game? Am I uninstalling the game? What can I do with the game then? Well, good fact. The game actually starts then for real. When I say real, I mean for the in-game players. For the in-game players, the game starts for real, because we will be farming the game. You will have various content you can do. You can run around farming open world, doing events, farming items, having a good time with people, doing normal dungeons. They have, what was it? 100 plus 120 dungeons in the game? That's a lot of dungeons. So you can run around doing them, exploring the world. Like in Guild Wars 2, you have like this where you can like get a percentage of how much you've explored the world map and how much things you've unlocked. They have the same in Diablo 4, and it's even giving you very nice rewards like more more health potions and more skill points for your talent tree and stuff like that, which is going to be account shared. So that's really nice. You don't have to do this on all your characters, just the first one. Beside of that, endgame, the real endgame is going to be dungeons. So if you play World of Warcraft, you have probably seen the term Mythic Dungeons, where it's all about you get a key, you transform it into a key for a dungeon, which is maybe going to be level 3. Then you do the dungeon on level 3 key, like a key which is level 3. And when you finish it, it can upgrade up to level 4 or 5 key. I think it's like that. Yeah. The same is going to happen for Diablo 4, that you will get these sigils. You run around doing open world events in the max level or whatever level it requires. You will then start getting these sigils that will drop for you, which is going to then turn into a dungeon. So it's not going to be all the 120 dungeons, that's confirmed. They're going to do like in WoW, where they take a group of dungeons and say, this is going to be our nightmare dungeons this week or this season. It's going to be season based. So the next 3 months, all the nightmare dungeons can be, let's say it's going to be a pool of these 30 dungeons. So every time you get a sigil, it's going to increase the difficulty of the dungeon because it's going to become a nightmare dungeon. And the sigil level is determining how much more HP and damage the mobs are going to deal to you. And then when you complete that one, you also have like only 5 revives, I think it is. So whenever someone dies, if you are alone or with a party, and every time you revive someone, you have like a maximum of how many times you can revive. I saw on the last live stream, and it looks like it was only like 5 revives. It was either like 4 to 6, something between that. So every time you die, you can revive up to 4 to 6 times. It gets harder depending on the level of the sigil. And even with that, seasons are coming with afflicts. I think, do they call it afflicts? I think it's called afflicts. It's basically things that makes it harder for you. For example, you could get a sigil level 7, which of course maybe gonna make the mobs 70% stronger, but then it has an afflicts, which is saying every time a monster dies, it explodes. And the higher sigil key you get, the more afflicts they're gonna have on them. So probably, I wouldn't be surprised that when you get level 100 sigil, if anyone ever come up there, they have 1 to 100. Then it might have like 8 affixes. I think it's that what they call. But yeah, they're gonna have these 8 affixes, which is gonna do different things. Like imagine the first one is gonna do every time someone dies, they're gonna explode. All bosses have increased 200% HP. All minions, they life steal. All these things that makes your life harder in the dungeons, and they also have that in WoW World of Warcraft Mythic dungeons. Which is a cool thing, because it makes that all the dungeons you keep doing with these sigils are never going to feel the same, because you have all these affixes, which is making you harder, making the game harder for you, and just more difficulty in a way that you haven't tried before. So yeah, I could imagine the end game is going to be these nightmare dungeons, you farm them, you farm these sigils, you keep pushing to get a higher sigil. You could probably do it alone with your friends, up to 4 in total. We haven't confirmed exactly how the leaderboard is going to be, because that's first in the next live stream, which is like soon. But we kind of have heard that endgame is going to be these nightmare dungeons. It's going to be a pool of nightmare dungeons that's going to be hand selected for each season, and then you're going to farm. So imagine the leaderboard's ladder in Diablo 4 is probably going to be who have done the highest level sigil for the dungeons. I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be like a leaderboard on Blizzard's website where you can see who have done this dungeon on highest sigil in the best time, just like they have the World of Warcraft. Which I personally think is a really, really, really cool thing. Like, I like it. I'm definitely going to spam this whenever I come at a high enough level to just spam these nightmare dungeons, getting a higher sigil. And I hope they're going to have a leaderboard like they have in Diablo Immortal and Diablo 3, where you have a leaderboard for solo players, duo players, trio players, and a squad. Because if 4-man players and solo players are going to have the same leaderboard, it's like, nah. I mean, what's the point of that? But being able to have these where you can conquer, like 5 people who's having like duo. So all the people who play duos fight each other. Sorry, I had to take a drink. Been talking a lot. So all these duo players fight each other, and so on. But yeah, basically. So, yeah. That's a game I'm excited for. Diablo 4, 6th June. If you bought the middle or the big pack, you'll be able to get it already June the 2nd. And I'm very excited for this game, and it's going to be game-changing. It's going to I think, honestly, this game can change, like, the gaming industry in some way, like how ARPGs are going to be made in the future with a bit more open world-ish, MMO feeling. I mean, Lost Ark probably, like, Lost Ark didn't start, but, the game reminds more of Lost Ark with this open world-ish dungeon-style thing. Other games, like, and then you could say, yeah, Diablo, well, Lost Ark took from Diablo, and we can keep that saying that, but you know what I mean. I think this is going to be the future of ARPGs after Diablo 4, that we're going to see more open world, MMO feeling ARPG games. But yeah, enough about Diablo 4. The last thing I'm going to talk about is, like, you're probably asking me, what game are you most excited for right now? I would say on a second placement, it's going to be Diablo 4, and I'm going to play a lot. I'm going to stream the game a lot. I'm going to make videos about it. Probably going to talk even more about it. But the game I'm most excited for still to this day is the game from Artificial Core called Corepunk. It is a big MMO RPG game where you kind of control... If you think about League of Legends / Dota 2, the same way you control your character in that game, exactly how you control your character, clicking around and mousing, and you can unlock camera, unlock camera. That's going to be the same in Corepunk, but just as an MMO RPG. So imagine you take World of Warcraft and combine it with Dota 2, and then you basically get an MMO from that. Open world, dungeons, raid, guild versus guilds, some kind of like alliance war system, PvP, battlegrounds, probably Arena also. You have like different classes. The classes are built like Dota, where you have like heroes, but they still, start like other MMOs with just like, underwear, and then you get armor to them. The cool thing about Core Punk is that armor doesn't give you stats. Armor is just basically cosmetic, but the stats are coming from items like in Dota and League of Legends. I can't even remember what they call them. But these artifacts, or maybe artifacts, but these items you get like in your inventory, just like Dota and League of Legends, are the ones that give you more abilities and more stats. They can't give you abilities. Default, all the classes you play will have like spells. For example, I'm going to main a character called I can't even remember the character name, but I just know the spec as I think it's called. Well, I'm gonna main something called the Destroyer, which is basically using a big two-handed sword, which has whirlwind, all the standard warrior spells. That's gonna be the one I'm gonna main. And then you have a variety of classes. You have like one guy who's like an engineer, which also can be a sniper. You have like a guy who can be a paladin, a big orc, which can use like a spear and shield. You have all these very cool characters. I still hope to this day they're gonna have like a transforming person, like someone who can like make, become a werewolf, a monster, a cat, something like that. Maybe that's gonna be down the line. Maybe it's gonna be an item, just like a Diablo 2, where you can get this set that makes you into a werewolf. Werewolf? Yeah, I guess that works. But yeah. So the game I'm most excited for myself is Core Punk. We still don't know when the game is coming out. The closed beta is coming soon, TM, if you know what I mean. So we still have to wait for that. Yeah. But that was the show for today. This was the Daily Loot, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know this episode was just me, just talking about gaming, just talking about upcoming games, a lot about Diablo 4, and a bit about my most anticipated game, Core Punk. But the Daily Loot is gonna come back soon again. I'm trying to upload episodes every day, every second day. It's always gonna be like every day or every second day. Talk about gaming stuff, stuff like that. I'm also gonna like bring in guests, like having a guest on, talking with them about opinions, stuff like that. I already have like a handful of people I want to get in on the show. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm gonna come back with tons more episodes. If you're listening on Spotify, you won't notice it where I'm right now. But if you're listening on YouTube, you will be seeing right now I'm sitting on my farm. I'm a staple. Next episode, I might sit outside anywhere, like with nature behind me. I'm going to sit like different places all the time. That's going to be fun trying like to rotate my disc, sitting different places all the time. That's going to be a little fun gimmick for the people who's watching on YouTube. But for the people who's listening on Spotify and etc., you of course only going to like listen to me. But yeah, so thanks for listening to, I still have to get used to say that word, but the Daily Loot. The Daily Loot. Thanks for listening. Have a great evening. Have a great day wherever you are in the world. And thanks for listening to my very first podcast episode 1. Peace out. Have a good day. Bye.